A book of patriotism, part of the Young Folks Library, Volume 18. Article inside on patriotism by Reverend W.H.P. Faunce. Mr. Rudyard Kipling, in his last book, has a story entitled The Ship That Found Herself. It narrates the story of a ship newly launched, starting out on her trial trip. At first, every part of the ship was finding fault with every other part. Every girder and beam and brace, every rod and piston and rivet was complaining against all the rest. But by and by the ship encountered a storm. The heavy winds began to blow. The great green billows rolled clear over the decks. And then, in the emergency, somehow, all the parts of the vessel began to draw together. All those discordant voices melted into one great voice, which was the soul of the ship. And that voice spoke out in one triumphant cry, as the splendid craft realized that she was not 1,000 discordant pieces, but one swift, beautiful, indestructible vessel. Now, it is not too much to say that in the year 1898, our dear country, the Republic of the United States, found herself. Until last summer, we were not wholly united as a people. There were differences between the North and South. There were discordant voices between East and West. But in the early summer of last year, when Dewey's guns boomed out in the harbor of Manila, and when, a little later, Cervera's fleet lay riddled and stranded along the coast of Cuba, then our country found herself, East and West, North and South, blended into one, parties united, local differences and prejudices vanished. A new self-consciousness came to the Republic, and we could repeat with a wholly new meaning Longfellow's familiar lines. Thou too sail on, O ship of state, sail on, O Union strong and great. Fear not each sudden sound and shock, 'tis the wave and not the rock. Our hearts, our hopes, our prayers, our tears, our faith triumphant o'er our fears, are all with thee, are all with thee. It is a great blessing to have lived at such a time. Since the great Civil War of America, hundreds of thousands of boys and young men have lived without hearing any call on the part of their country for sacrifice. They have perhaps never felt the patriotic thrill or heard the call to repel a foe. But you, boys, if I may speak especially to the younger ones here tonight, you, boys, have seen the regiments marching down Broadway, and you have seen them come home again, worn and pale and broken. There may be some here tonight who have themselves enlisted. You have at least seen your comrades go, some of whom may never return. You have seen this country take a new place in the great world's arena. If you do not love your country, who will love it? If you here tonight do not stand by this flag, who will stand by it? If you are not patriots, this land will never have them. But what is it to love one's country? Is it to carry a banner in a procession? Is it to shout as we see the flag? Is it to fling bunting from the tops of the buildings and send off skyrockets in the evening? Vastly deeper than that is love of country. Deeper than any soldier's uniform. Deeper than any pictures of battleships with which we adorn our walls. To love your country. Let us get this very clearly before us tonight. To love your country is to love that for which your country stands. I love thy rocks and reels. A man who loved rocks and reels is a geologist, not a patriot. Perhaps thy woods and templed hills. A man who loves woods and templed hills may not love his country at all. Land of the noble free, thy name I love. A man who loves his country loves the nobility, the freedom for which his country stands. He loves the ideal enthroned in his country's history, the principle which runs through all the story of his country's past, like a spinal cord. The ideals which were set before his fathers, the institutions for which these fathers lived and suffered. The man who loves that for which his country stands, he, and he alone, is the man who loves his country. What is it to love your home? Is it to love the bricks and mortar in the house? Is it to love the furniture in the various rooms? No. To love your home is to love the ideas for which your home stands, to love the way things are done, to love the people who dwell there, to love the principles upon which the home is built. And so it is with our native land. Now, why should we love especially our country, the United States of America? Certainly, we should not love America simply because of its size. We should not boast of America simply because of its bigness. Africa is far larger than our republic. Thousands of its square miles stretch out under the sun. And for ages, they have not produced a man. Russia is marvelous in its bigness, sprawling over Asia and Europe, and held in the grip of an absolute and relentless despotism. Does any man love Russia because it is so big? Why? The little countries of this world have been the greatest countries usually. The smallest countries have usually done the most for the world, as, for instance, Greece and Italy and Switzerland and Palestine. These are the names that have made history and shaped the world. And it is not rising marble to the 25th story on Lower Broadway that makes this country glorious. It is not whitening the seas on every side with the sails of our fleet. It is not the size of our wheat fields or the depth of our mines or the splendor of our manufacturers. Bigness is never greatness.